welcome back to Miniature Apocalypse, back from AdeptiCon. I'm going to do an overview video of the trip, starting off with what did I buy? All right, as with everything I do, a little bit of context will fill in the story here, but I got a pretty good haul. It was a wide variety of genres and game systems, but the whole journey was fun. So I'm going to kick it off with what I purchased at a local game store in New Berlin, Wisconsin, called Gamer's Realm. All right, let's set the stage for the first part of the trip. We stayed outside of Milwaukee and we drove into the convention center on Friday. So on Thursday night, after we had arrived, we did a quick search in Google Maps. That's a huge tip if you don't do it already. Every time I travel, I do a search for hobby shops in the area, and you'd be surprised what you can find. At any rate, we found Gamer's Realm. I had been there before, but since I had been there, they had moved locations, and we headed out. When we got there, we found out from the owner, I believe, that it was a sale of 35% off on everything in the store. And that included their bargain section, which is basically secondhand things that you can buy at a greatly discounted price. So that is where I picked up this BattleTech Alpha Strike Hexus battle mat. Now I had one and I needed another one because I wanted a bigger playing space. So I picked that up for $20 less than 35%, which is a great deal. I also grabbed this Sherman tank, which is already assembled, already has a coat of paint, and I needed a third one to finish up my armor platoon for bolt action. There's nothing better than not having to glue and prime a tank. So I quickly grabbed that at $20 minus the 35%. And just realizing that 35% was probably a way better deal than anything I'd get at the convention, I picked up some German veteran infantry models for bolt action. I needed those just to buff up my German forces. I had to pick up some platoon commanders for the US. Those are Ranger platoon commanders. And then I grabbed 2 Jeeps for my recon platoon that I'll add to my Greyhound. So that'll make my 3 vehicles for my bolt action US recon platoon. So again, great deal. Everything, all these were the standard retail price, but 35% off. And me and Ron and my dad, we went a little bit crazy at that deal and bought a bunch of things there to start. And we hadn't even made it to the convention yet. And then after that, I had to pick up some paint for that Sherman tank and my other Sherman tanks I got to finish up. So Vallejo, not sure how to pronounce it exactly. My apologies, but they were there, but I didn't find them until after I found another vendor that had their paints. So I grabbed 3 bottles of US Olive Drab. It's quite hard to find on the streets. So I was happy to find it there, and I stocked up. Then on the last day, the last purchase, I came across the Flintlock Games booth, and I was looking through their stuff, and their new resin is just gorgeous. I love it. So I figured out that this was the best deal. It's $45 for basically a whole warband for the Port Royal game. And I don't know if you can see it, but this resin is really nice. It looks really good. It holds detail. It's sharp. Hopefully you can get that in the picture. But I grabbed this. Gave me a whole warband for Port Royal. And it also came with a objective marker and stands as usual. So that was a nice bonus to the purchase as well. Great resin. I love it. And of course, I had to check out the Warlord Games booth because I needed some German commanders for my German forces. So I grabbed a pack of those, and they threw in a free, I think it's a Firefly from Konflikt 47. I'll share some pictures of their Konflikt 47 display. It looked really cool. I haven't bought into it yet. I'm still trying to hold off, but it was nice that they gave you a freebie when you're at the booth. And then my celebrity purchases, Space Gits. Now this was a surprise because Mike Hutchinson was standing in the booth alone. So I went up and said hello and shook his hand, and he showed me the new rule book, which is gorgeous, by the way. Production value is fantastic. I love the artwork, the photography. There's a video out there too that I saw the other day that's really cool to watch. So I picked up the book. He did give me his autograph inside, and then I picked up Officer Crunk here from the booth. And then I did pick up a couple other packs from Badger Games of some orcs to bulk up my orc forces for Space Kits. Again, Mike Hutchinson was there. I'll share a picture with him. It was great to meet him and talk to him. I think that's one of the great things about going to AdeptiCon is you get to meet these people that you see on YouTube all the time. And it's just fun. It's fun to meet them. They talk to you. Everyone's friendly. It's a great time. And speaking of celebrities, I did hit the one page rules vendor booth, and Warboss Fitz was there. He gave me that button. I got a picture of him as well. And I picked up Firefight The Last Stand 2-player starter set, which is the Grimdark Future Firefight skirmish level game. So I'll probably do some videos on that. I know there's a rules change coming for it. I just saw that in one page rules video. So we'll check that out later. But I think I'm going to do a video where I paint up the figures, and then we can either play the old rules or just start with the new rules. I'm not sure yet, but it was great to meet Warboss Fitz. I watch a lot of his videos. They're great battle reports. So again, it's really fun to meet your heroes. And then last but not least, I did get a free pack of these Dark Soul figures. Dark Souls, the Silver, and the Dead. Now, I don't play this, but I was walking through the hallway and somebody stopped me and said, "Would you like some miniatures?" And I said, "Sure." And they gave them to me for free, which is another great thing about Adepticon. It's just so friendly, and people are there to make sure you're having fun, and you get free things and see your heroes. And I can't say enough about how good of a time it was. All right, now let me take you through my photo journal of my experience at Adepticon. This was the main banner that they had on, I believe it was the second floor of the convention center. Very cool. That is a picture of a very well printed banner. And this was the banner at the door. And this proves that I was there. There's Ron on the left and my dad on the right. He had just arrived. So you got to take the obligatory Adepticon picture. And just to say, people were so friendly. Somebody came up and just said, "Hey, do you want me to take a picture?" And we are like, "Yeah, that'd be great." And just a good example of how friendly people were at the show. There was just from the people that worked at the convention center to the vendor hall, everybody was great. Now, this was the main exhibitor hall, and in the middle of the main exhibitor hall was where all the booths were with the vendors. And then on the right hand side, you had tables like this, and on the left hand side, you had tables like that. You'll see a few pictures ahead here, but just absolutely overwhelming. Look at all those tables, all those people. This was the Warhammer side. You could see the vendor booth right there, the official store section. And then you can tell by the banners hanging from the ceiling it's just huge, and it was so overwhelming. I did not take that many pictures because it was so much to take in, and being my first trip, I was just taking it all in. It was very, very cool. And then one of the highlights was meeting Warboss Fitz at the one page rules booth. They had the Broken Truth starter set examples that you could look at, but you couldn't buy yet because they told me it was stuck on a boat somewhere. But I did, as you saw earlier in the video, I did pick up a box of the Skirmish 2-player starter set. So excited to get to work on that. But meeting Warboss Fitz was great. I watch his videos all the time. I'll put a link to his channel in the description below. He's a huge one-page rules player, and it's just fun to watch his stuff. And it was great to see what's coming in the box. You can see down in the bottom of that picture, there was cardboard terrain included, which, as you know, I love just for ease and accessibility. So looking forward to the Broken Truth 2-player starter set getting here soon. And it was great to see Warboss Fitz. And then I met this young gentleman, Mike Hutchinson. He talked to me, shook hands. He signed my book there, Space Gets, his new rule book, which is beautiful. I showed it earlier in the video. Production value is great. It was great to meet him and get to talk to him. And like I said before, too, it's just meeting these people that you see online and that you listen to all the time, week in, week out, and then being able to talk to them in person, them being friendly and willing is great. It's good for the community. It's good for them. It inspires us. So it's good to see. And this was a display over at Warlord Games. This is their Black Powder Epic Battles American Rev. And I'm fighting the urge to buy into this. I have the Civil War version, painting that up still. So maybe when I'm done, I will buy into this because it looks gorgeous. The way they have those figures, they're on strips and they're easy to paint. And then when you put them together into units, they look really nice on the table. Gives you a real good big battle feel. This was the Konflikt 47 display board. A lot of models on this board. This was very fun to look at. They had all the product there as well. They had the rule book you could see on the left. So I'm still fighting that urge, but it's becoming a losing battle, I think. And then this is a picture from the other side of the main exhibitor hall. This was the tables there. A lot of those were demonstration tables. So if you wanted to, you could get a demo game from a vendor. And then they had tournament tables, all kinds of things going on. And again, you can just tell how big and massive this hall is. And this is just one location. There were separate rooms where some people had their own room, like Play on Tabletop had a room with tables. They had some of their merch. They had, I think I saw Nick there. They had, the crew there. It was great to see those things. In the hallways, there were other vendors selling things. There were cosplayers walking around. Just so much to see, so much to take in. And then the man, the myth, the legend, Joseph McCullough. Meeting him was definitely another highlight of the show. I was walking through the Badger Games booth, and there in the corner was a gentleman sitting there very quiet. And I looked over and I was like, "You got to be kidding me." So I went over there and shook his hand, and he talked to me and took a picture with me, and I really appreciated him taking the time. I know it's a lot of travel and hard for them, and it's just, again, great thing to do to see people you admire, especially someone as big as Joseph in the industry, and just be inspired by their work, and then to meet them in person. Very cool. And then once we were done at the convention center, we went to Old Guard Games. When you're in Milwaukee, you have to go to Old Guard Games. This is the premier hobby shop in the area. You can see on the outside the lions and the sign. It's got historical, science fiction, fantasy, miniature war games. And on the interior, it's gorgeous. You can see these blue walls and the tin ceiling. All the artwork is incredible. There's a mixture too. It looks like it's all historical, but if you notice to the right of the red coats there and the middle is a Star Wars picture. So they mix it up. So it's really neat to see. You see the gnome on the counter there. They've got suits of armor. They've got uniforms, I think. So you can play a game on the first level. There's a gaming table there. There's more in the basement. It's just a place you got to see at least once when you go. I believe they have a shuttle that runs from the convention to Old Guard Games and back as well. So that's kind of a cool thing. This is the basement, one of the playing areas. You can see that humongous table and all the decorations on the walls. Looks like a very fun place to play a game, right? And here's the other side, more tables, more decorations. And I was talking to Ron and my dad and saying, we could always go to the convention and then go to the Old Guard Games and play a game there. And that was it. That was my trip to AdeptiCon. Again, I would highly recommend it. It was overwhelming for the first time, and next time will be different, I'm sure. We'll definitely go again because it was worth it. Really, we didn't pay anything to get in. You can go in, you can browse the exhibitor hall, you can walk around and look at all the games. You don't really need to pay if you don't want to play in tournaments or things like that. So it's definitely worth it. Parking was $20. You got your hotel if you don't live in the area. It was about a 5-hour drive for me from Minnesota, so it's definitely accessible and affordable because of all that. But I would highly recommend it even if you have to fly, because everybody is there and it is incredible. So, well, thank you for being here. Please like and subscribe the video, and stay tuned for the end of the week where I will have another news episode coming up. Take care.